It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? when the algorithm shines. Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The world's on fire, it's burning slow. She sees the pain everywhere she goes. Her heart is heavy, but it still beats loud. She whispers to the stars above, is there still a place for love? Or is it lost in the crowd? Sometimes you need a little hope, a spark to light the dark unknown, a helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on. She walks the streets where shadows grow, but dreams still bloom in cracks below. The smallest light can break the night. She hums a tune to drown the ache. The world needs more than it can take, but she won't give up the fight. Sometimes you need a little hope, a spark to light the dark unknown, a helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on. The world's on fire, it's burning slow. She sees the pain everywhere she goes. Her heart is heavy, but it still beats loud. She whispers to the stars above, is there still a place for love? Or is it lost in the crowd? Sometimes you need a little hope, to light the dark unknown. A helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on. She walks the streets where shadows grow, but dreams still bloom in cracks below. The smallest light can break the night. She hums a tune to drown the ache. The world needs more than it can take, but she won't give up the fight. Sometimes you need a little hope, a spark to light the dark unknown. A helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on. The world's on fire, it's burning slow. She sees the pain everywhere. It's a true crime Christmas, where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas, where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning when the algorithm shines. Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane? Forensic routine. The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane? Forensic routine. The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? shines. The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane? Forensic routine. The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom in lost her marbles, chasing ghosts online. But who needs sanity when the algorithm shines?
Hi everyone, how are you? Thank you all for coming by. I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Pardon me. We have a full house today, and you're probably going to hear a lot of background noise as I try to get this going here. The kids are playing and having a good time. And all of you that are new here and don't know, I have a child that does have profound severe autism. So sometimes we have a lot of joy and excitement going on, and it can be very loud. So just want to give you a warning if you're listening in your earbuds or you're to be on watch, because sometimes she can be quite loud, and it's a great thing though, because she is having fun and she's interacting, and that's truly an answer to prayer for us anyway. So how is everybody doing? I hope that you're doing well. I know that this could be a really hard time of year for a lot of us that have lost loved ones, that maybe are not having the greatest holiday season sometimes, whether it's economical or emotional or far away from family or without family or dear friends. So I know it could be really tough. I just read a really heartbreaking statistic. Actually, I was doing some research on autism, and it's now said that 1 out of 10 people with autism will try to take their life. 1 out of 10. So 1 out of 4 have, unaliving ideation. It's so unsettling statistically how really high the numbers are when it comes to those on the autism spectrum. It really is. So that was just something that really shocked me. So I hope we can raise awareness on that and check in on our loved ones, check in on our coworkers, our neighbors, everybody, and just, make sure everything's okay. Don't just take a smile for it. Sometimes we have to be a little assertive and, say, hey, I want to come by, let's bring some dessert, or something, and not to be intrusive, but, that statistic is really bad. 1 in 4, and then 1 out of 10. Oh, and the veterans, and I mean, it's just one of those times, it is a myth that unaliving increases substantially during the holidays. That's a statistical myth. However, what isn't a myth is that the holidays do tend to make things bubble up to the surface more, right? You get more melancholy, you get more depressed for all different reasons. And don't forget, depression doesn't always have anything to do with what's happening in somebody's life. Sometimes people could be in a depression and there's nothing they can do to get out of it. They try everything, right? Financially, they might be doing well. They might have amazing family, children, and it could just be chemical imbalances and all kinds of stuff. So that's why I always encourage everybody to call or text, any of the crisis lines for help. And, always contact a professional. There is nothing to be embarrassed of. Getting a life coach or a therapist or anything that you could use to benefit your life or your loved ones' lives, go for it. It's just a tool in the toolbox that we have living in 2025, right? We are living in a whole new world here in 2025. And there is no shame in asking for help. It's a big difference in getting a hand up than getting a hand out, right? Big difference. So, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little sick, I think, lately. When I'm trying to talk, I've noticed I have a hard time. My throat's been bothering me, so I apologize for that. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but a little housekeeping to get out of the way. As everybody knows, I do have Momming It Up monetized now, so all of your support is wonderful. I am trying to cover the cost of the channel and do this full time if at all possible. I know that it took a long time for me to decide what we were going to do with Momming It Up, but we are going to stick it out. We're going to try to make this channel flourish into whatever it's meant to be. We're going to give it our best shot. You know, I try to come up with different things, and I don't really know where we're going to fit in the algorithm, but we're just going to keep on trucking, guys, and we're going to see where we end up with Momming It Up, and we're going to give it a go. Otherwise, it would be a shame to have to completely erase the channel and start from scratch. I have the other channel, and you know, this whole algorithm stuff is really hard to understand for me, and I know for a lot of other people how it actually works out. So we're just gonna see where it goes. Right now, I can't be the creator that I usually want to be, or how I planned on having a channel again one day when I could dedicate my time to actually, you know, fully putting effort into the channel, because it's not the way this channel flourished. I'm not in an algorithm where I can, you know, meet the general population and discuss true crime or discuss different types of psychology or different cases or different anything really. We're in this algorithm when we were following certain cases that are not made up of an audience that a lot of us actually wanted to be a part of. So we gotta just kind of you know, see what happens. And I've been really, you know, lucky to meet some of you guys, and I understand that you share my frustrations. And you know, half of my channel came from nothing to do with the missing people that we were discussing, and it had nothing to do with true crime specifically. It was just a bunch of followers that I had from other things. And then half of you all did come from this trauma drama stuff that I didn't even know existed. So we're in this little tiny speck of a genre in this YouTube world here, and I don't know how we get out of it without just completely shutting it down, starting over with new everything. I mean, new everything. Even a private server would probably be like critical at this point. It's that crazy how the algorithms are. It really is. So if I had already been established on the channel and I had a flux of, you know, viewers that would come in, I usually only had 200 or 300 people at a time, but at least it was organic. But because you only have this small amount that comes from these cases that we've been discussing, it's not enough to push us away from this genre. So we're stuck in trauma. We really are, until there's an influx of people that push through, and then, you know, it can adjust accordingly. It's very complicated. Excuse me. I've talked to my vidIQ coach many times, just trying to decide, what do we do? You know, how do we do this? And like he said, we're just going to do what I want to do on the channel, and I'm just going to see what happens with it. But I can't take it seriously. I can't be structured like I like to be. I can't come on and cover things in more of an independent investigative journalist approach. It's just not the type of, oh, sorry, it's just not the type of algorithm for any of that. You know, it's just not. Most people are not interested in these types of conversations. They're not looking for, you know, for people that are going to read transcripts of court cases and look at all possible sides and motives, or go through statement analysis or anything like that. And that is just the reality. We have a lot of people that are not here to discuss the cases at all. They're doing different jobs, they're different paid jobs, they're different, all kinds of things. there's defense attorney strategies being deployed. There's all different things. And we just don't fit. Some of us do not fit into anything here. So what we can do is just talk, right? We could talk to you guys. We could be honest about where we're coming from and what our perspectives are. But we're not going to fit. I'm not going to conform into a side. I'm not going to be on a dad team, a step parent team, a Krama team, a Brittany team, a Clue team. I'm not going to be on any team. It's not going to happen. It's just never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not. The only team that I would ever sign up under and have NDAs or anything is if law enforcement asked me to. I mean, let's be realistic. These are true crime cases. So it's just bizarre, some of the conversations that I've had, some of the people that have reached out to me, and how they talk like we're in some sort of reality TV show, and who's paying, and it's just like it's really I don't know, it's really maddening in some ways, but it's also interesting to think of the psychological things to come in the future. Because I do think that we're going to find something comes out of a lot of this type of stuff. Not this specifically. We're nobodies. I mean, we're one out of 10 million people watching in a certain category. But just overall, how impressionable and groupthink and what can happen when you're put into situations, like, does it affect your actual logic? And I think we're going to find different diagnoses in the future DSM-6. I really do. I really, really do. I do. Hang on one second. Let me just go check on the guys really quickly and just see if they need anything, because they're going outside. I just want to make sure they understand that she elopes. I have a bunch of the soldiers over. My son went to visit his dad's side of the family. I dropped him off at Nashville Airport last night. But I have a bunch of the guys that unfortunately either do not have family or couldn't get to family. So we are always here to feed anyone that wants to risk eating my food. But they're a bunch of great kids. Hang on, let me just go make sure they understand. 1 second, guys.
It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles
Sorry.
When the algorithm shines.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. But they're all having a great time. And I just get super worried. It's just how I am. I just get worried. And I want to make sure that everybody is totally aware that she could take off. And I have some good news, though. There's another dog that looks like they're going to be a good match for elopement and severe profound elopement with autism and things. So we're on the list, and I'm praying that this dog ends up being a good match, and we'll see what happens with that. Because that's been my biggest struggle, is trying to secure a service dog that really is truly trained for elopement and bolting. It is not easy to find a service dog, but it's really difficult to find a good match. Because I'm one of those people that think that when it comes to service animals, you shouldn't train them for the person. You should see what that puppy was made to be, right? So I think that a lot of the organizations that I have found, they train various service dogs, right? They train them for diabetes, for for blind, for hearing impaired, for all different neurodivergence and things, like all kinds of things. But they wait to see what that puppy is made for, instead of having a puppy and saying, oh, well, you're going to be a dog for, like Seeing Eyes for the Blind, or, you're going to be a puppy that's going to, detect diabetes and sugar. They wait to see what that dog's calling is first. And that, I think, is really important. Financially, that's for a whole nother show, okay? Because that's just doing the costs are, just like with everything, cost. Always tons and tons of costs, right? That's where you let go and let God, I think. So, okay, enough of me running my little mouth over here about all kinds of various stuff. Let me get into the nitty gritty of why I've been trying to do this little segment and just get a bunch of stuff off my chest, I guess. Why not? Might as well. Hey, KJ and Little Red and Cinderella and everybody, how are you? Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Don't know why it's putting the comments up there. Let me take that off. Okay, there we go. Let me just see if I could put this in the background. Did any of you have Thanksgiving at home, or did you make anything special? Is there anything you do on Thanksgiving that's kind of like your own little tradition? Or I know everybody celebrates so differently. Okay. All right, so when we do the upload of this, I'll be cutting out the first half an hour, while I'm getting adjusted and getting it streaming on all the different channels. But when I'm going live now, it takes some time because I'm streaming to both the YouTubes and the TikTok and the X. And I'm a one-lady show. I'm doing more interviews. I'm hoping to find a podcast that's looking for co-hosts and stuff. So send positive energy and keep me in your prayers if you're the praying type, that I do secure a position, because that's really what I need to do with working from home and remote working. I really need to try to secure a position and then build up the channel. And if it's ever going to be something standalone independently, then it will be, but I'm really looking for security. So that's something that I've been trying to look into. I have more interviews. Actually, I have one tomorrow, and then I have 2 on Saturday. So we'll see if that goes well. I'm really excited for that. And but today's show, I wanted to really talk about all of the different stuff that we've all seen, that all of you that are here, or if you're just tuning in, I'm sure that you have had your questions. If you stumbled on some of these channels, that seem to be covering different cases with the parents of missing children specifically. Basically, it's kind of like, the rise of trauma when true crime turns toxic. In the shadowy corners of the internet, where the curiosity can meet catastrophe, this new phenomena has emerged. You guessed it, guys. What is the new phenomena? Karama. A twisted blend of true crime and manufactured drama that's captivating audiences while tearing apart actual real lives. Seems to be born from the insatiable hunger for content on platforms like YouTube and social media. This new genre called krama turns tragic disappearances into soap operas, complete with feuds, accusations, and grifters chasing clicks and cash. See, it all started to gain traction around the case of Summer Wells, a 5-year-old little girl who vanished from her rural Tennessee home on June 15th of 2021. Summer was a beautiful, bright-eyed, innocent child. Sadly, she became the unwitting star of countless videos and live streams. What seemingly began as genuine calls for awareness quickly devolved into speculation and sensationalism. Creators dissected her parents' every word. Candace Bly and Donald Wells, a couple with a history of domestic issues, turning odd behaviors into viral conspiracies. Domestic v. assaults and arrests, conflicting timelines, and unverified rumors fueled the fire. But the focus shifted pretty quick from finding Summer to fighting over who had the real story. Who's the fact teller? Who's a liar? Who do you believe? As the months dragged on without any answers, this new thing called krama took root. Live streams featured make-believe characters. Oh, that's right. Anonymous personas, exaggerated alter egos, schizophrenia, bipolar, multiple personality disorder. I'm sure that was mixed in. Portraying real people in scripted skits. Was this further caused due to the lockdowns of 2020, when so many producers, script editors, actors, actresses, comedians, musicians were thrust into staying at home without any way of making gig work actually happen? They couldn't get out and do their gigs, and they couldn't bring in revenue, and they sat home behind TikTok accounts and Zoom video calls. Did they come up with these ideas of how they could actually create money and still have a good time? Surely that can't be it. But rumors swirl that actually some of that really is it. See, these weren't documentaries. These are productions. That's right, little channels popping up that somehow already have 5,000, 10,000 followers. How? They have no content. They were just created. I guess they could pay for really good bots. They blended some facts with fiction and they kept viewers hooked. The next thing you know, there's photos that captivate you and bring you in closer to take a peek. Could that be possible? Is that AI? How do they have that? Well, if there's videos, then why aren't the parents arrested? Or why isn't this person arrested? What is going on? This doesn't make any sense. Sadly, parents of missing children, desperate for any spotlight on their case, appear as guests. But that entertainment was not about the child. That's right, everybody. It's not about the children at all. It's actually about parental drama, accusations of neglect, right? That's what you hear automatically, accusations of neglect, infidelity, or even worse. Fights erupt in comment sections, and creators attack anyone questioning the narrative, especially those spotlighting all the inconsistencies that are in the parents' stories. You'll see 5 or 10 people in chats with all kinds of anonymous names, and they act almost like bots, and they'll push different stories, and creators will read only those comments, and they'll go with only those comments. And then they have a whole story before your eyes. But people don't watch long enough to catch on because it's a revolving door on the internet. New people come and old people go, and nobody will catch on to that. It's a bunch of hoopla off the backs of missing children, hypocritical poppycock nonsense of people pretending that there's a good side and there's a bad side, when really you're all one side, and it's pretty grimy and gross, if you ask me and a lot of other people. Not everyone, though, but a lot of people like me on the outside looking at this disaster, we think it's all gross and there's no good. It doesn't feel right. It feels like you're over by the septic in the sewer, and it's just not acceptable content, really. You don't even want to talk to people. You don't want to say hi in chats. And you definitely don't want to be known as the independent investigative journalist or true crime creator that engaged with any of these people, because, well, my gosh, who's going to want to work with you? It looks like the lowest of the lows. Making entertainment, falsifying video evidence with enhancements and stories and fictional neighbors and eyewitness accounts when you don't live anywhere even near these kids that went missing. There's no flyers, no banners, no call to actions unless it's on these echo chambers with a couple hundred people watching, but really, you might have 20 or 30 actual people left. Most people aren't watching this stuff. It's all the productions and all the friends and everybody just going in and out to keep the channels going and the content believable. But I digress. I got into this because there was that missing child, Sebastian Rogers, that pulled on my heartstrings. It seems that there's so many creators that we start a call to action and open our mouth for one reason or another when something resonates with us. When we feel a personal connection to something that makes us want to actually get out there and speak up on something. And that was Sebastian for me. Many other people have come across different cases at different points in time, from Casey Anthony to O.J. Simpson to JonBenet Ramsey. Kristen David's disappearance in 1981, she had a big effect on a lot of people in the community as well. So many different reasons that we decide that we want to speak up on something or look into something. And that was mine. That's right, it was Sebastian, 15-year-old who you've all heard had autism, but really his chromosomal deletion syndrome seems to have been more important to know than even the recent diagnosis of autism when you hear about it through the professionals. Sebastian's case amplified this already existing toxicity. See, many of us had recalled hearing these different creators and watching these panels and these arguments, but we didn't realize that it was the same people, because channels, names, and everything change constantly. Appearances change, AI changes. Snapchat, remember the Snapchat filters and people changing their appearances like TikTok masks? So many different things that you didn't realize it was the actual same people. But Sebastian's case really amplified this trauma toxicity. It didn't really have a name, but now people have given it a name as if that somehow makes it legitimate. But there's no legitimate trauma when it comes to active investigations. Nobody should really want to try to interfere, and they should really be trying to encourage the FBI to take the lead and try to understand why are people missing, and nobody wants to really get down to the bottom of why they're missing. and it's the internet. We all know that stuff online, well, that's a crime and that crosses the state lines because it's the internet. So the FBI will take over and figure it out if you'll just, I don't know, give them facts, try to make things easier, not harder. But I guess I give too many people credit thinking that everybody's here because it's true crime and you actually want to try to help solve cases or help spread the word to get the clues that are needed to the right investigators so that they can find the facts and the evidence that's needed to go present in front of a judge, make sure a DA feels that they could actually secure a conviction. But then I have to remind myself, we're talking about this new genre called drama, and that's entertainment. It's not actually here to help with these investigations. It's here to make as much money as possible. And the only way to keep the money going is by keeping the cases going. And that's where a lot of people get kind of disturbed and concerned, because if the cases are only going because the missing kids are missing, well, then what was the incentive to find the missing kids if you're making money off the kids that are actually missing the longer that they go missing? I don't know. We're just talking about all the speculation on all sides. I never say anybody is guilty. I think everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I love America. I think that we have great checks and balances. I never accuse anyone. I just like to talk about every single possible side of a scenario. I like to see it from everybody's point of view, even if some of the points of view completely seem illogical, lack facts. It doesn't matter. I like to still understand and see why somebody would think that way. I love to hear about what if this and what if that. I like statistics. But really, I like knowing that there is a chance that people can actually help with justice. So many missing cases, so many cold cases that professors and colleges are trying to help work on to try to help raise awareness and get convictions and solve cases. That's the kind of stuff that a lot of us are enjoying, feeling like you're doing something good, not feeling like you're doing something really bad. And let's be honest, a lot of us feel like there's something not right with these missing children's cases. Not when the parents are dressing up in costumes and fighting with one another more than they seem to care about finding their missing son. When you don't want everybody to just share their flyers and their pictures and you say that people need permission, well, I'm sorry, we're all looking at you like there's something not right here. Why would you care what photo is on a flyer? And why wouldn't you want the banners and the yard signs all over where you live? Seems to me that in Sebastian's case, none of the parents have his banners and flyers anywhere in their area. Now, I'm not being judgmental, I'm just being realistic. If a child's missing and they're a teenager and you haven't moved and they know where you live, wouldn't you want them to find their way easy if they seen their face on a poster? Wouldn't you just have these areas peppered with flyers and banners? I mean, instead, people want to talk about other creators and get mad at other people when they're trying to light highways with signs or have green light bulbs all over the place. I mean, for heaven's sake, if we're trying to help find this child, you're not helping by making that kind of big problem. It doesn't make sense. And if you get out of this echo chamber of trauma and you actually talk to the majority of true crime watchers, forget it. If you've talked to the locals, you wouldn't believe what they say about stuff. But if you just talk to regular people that pay attention to the cases, well, this all looks like these parents want this kid to keep being missing. It doesn't make any sense to the average person when they see it, because for 2 years, then it's the same old, fighting with this one, fighting with that one. This creator's no good. Secret recordings, AI fictional recordings. That's very strange how that all happens. Let me fix this little technical issue that I have really quickly. Just give me one moment. Having a little glitch over here. We'll just have to edit that out when we're done because I'm recording all this live. And we'll have to edit that out afterwards. And let me just fix this. Hang on one moment, everybody.
It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mom had lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs
Hang on, guys. I just have to, trying to put the bee right back on. I just have to go help my little one with something. Just one moment. Probably about 2 or 3 minutes. She got really dirty, so I have to get the nail brush to try to help her get her fingernails clean because she can't stand the sensory stuff. So I guess that was why my mic started glitching.
Running a PTA with a smile. Running a PTA with a smile so sweet. Hands in the air like she's gotta preach. Solving mysteries with a truth so deep. Spreading love, never out of reach. Advocate with a voice so clear. Lifting up kids, chasing away the fear. Got her facts straight like a newsroom star. Helping hearts heal from near and far. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. In the counselor's chair, she's got your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Dr. Phil vibes, but 10 times more open hope. Third at heart, she's the one they adore. Seeing the good, she'll find the gold. Even in stories that were once so cold. Eyes like a hawk, she's on the prowl. For every single truth, she'll walk that mile. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. And the warrior, so bright. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. Oh, so bright. Warrior, so bright. In the counselor's chair, she's got your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Dr. Phil vibes, but 10 times more open hope. Third at heart, she's the one they adore. In the counselor's chair, she's got your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Dr. Phil vibes, but 10 times more open hope. Third at heart, she's the one they adore. Seeing the good, she'll find the gold. Even in stories that were once so cold. Eyes like a hawk, she's on the prowl. For every single truth, she'll walk that mile. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. Running a PTA with a smile so sweet. Hands in the air like she's gotta preach. Solving mysteries with a truth so deep. Spreading love, never out of reach. Advocate with a voice so clear. Lifting up kids, chasing away the fear. Got her facts straight like a newsroom star. Helping hearts heal from near and far. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. In the
All right, we are
She's got
back.
your back. Advice so smooth, never gonna lack. Got to feel that. But 10 times more open hope, 30 heart, she's the one they adore. Seeing the good, she'll find the gold. Even in stories that were once
Let's
so
see.
cold. Eyes like a hawk, she's on the prowl. For every single truth, she'll walk that mile. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. And the warrior, so bright. Oh, she's momming it up in style. Every step, every mile. With a heart that's fierce, she lights the night. Fighting for love like a warrior, so bright. Oh, so bright. Warrior, so bright.
And then how do I get this to turn off here? All right, guys. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I had a couple of issues happening where the computer just kept turning off, like going into like a screensaver type of thing, you know, battery saver or something. I'm not quite sure what was happening. And then I had to go help out for a second with the littles. And you ever have that happen sometimes where, for all of you that have littles, you know, where like you'll be sleeping, but you'll wake up like a minute before they end up waking up and stuff? It's always so interesting. It's like, I always wonder if it's like guardian angels that get your attention, or is it just your sixth sense, your mom's sixth sense, or your caregiver's sixth sense, or whatever, you know? Because it was like, oh yeah, as soon as the thing was doing that and I had to go try to fix it, then all of a sudden I find out that they don't know why she's upset. So I had to go help. And that's just because she has sensory, you know, and she doesn't like it if she loves to play in the dirt. She loves to, you know, she's like really into like digging and all that stuff. But then she does not like it, you know, if dirt gets under her nails or anything. Like she wants, you know, wants it out. So I wouldn't have known that had I not tried to see what was going on with the computer. So it's interesting the timing of that. All right, so let's see. Oh, so some people had emailed asking, you know, what I do with donations and things like that. Well, I haven't really gotten any. I think $45 total is all I've ever received, just so you guys know. I have no reason, you know, not to be honest about that. But if I ever was to make anything on this channel, once we cover the StreamYards, because the StreamYards and the Streamlabs and the Vid Coach, that cost over $100 a month combined. And then I have my extra internet and stuff, which I wouldn't expect to come out of this channel because I have my, you know, my second internet anyway, just for all the other stuff that I do. But yeah, so I would be, that's what I do is, you know, would be covering the expenses that I already spend. And then if there's anything extra, it would go towards, you know, everything else that we utilize in life, right? I mean, Christmas presents, sensory room stuff, I don't know, groceries, car repairs, whatever. I mean, it would be no different than anything else when you have a job. You spend it wherever you need to spend it. I just thought it was really strange. And that's why I really felt like I needed to just have this live venting type of thing with you all, because so many people are so focused on the money. And I just know that the money doesn't come like that for channels like us. It takes a long time to finally get your watch hours. And then once you have your watch hours and you have to keep it, right? You have to keep your watch time or you'll lose your monetization. It's not a lot of money. Like it takes a lot of effort to start bringing in an actual income from your channels. You don't get hand over fist gifts, Cash Apps, Venmos, PayPals, people buying stuff on your Amazon list. I had, when I had the 32,000 following channel, there would sometimes people would want to send gifts or something, to the kids, or if they owned a company, just like with Facebook, with Meta, we got all the, all the influencers, you get your pink cleaning products. The advertisers sometimes, you get your pink cleaning products and, your different things like that, that when people are putting in a lot for advertising. But the gifting and stuff is not, it's few and far in between. So it's really interesting that with the chroma genre, it seems like it's a disproportionate amount of money by thousands. So statistically, right, we know that AI and technology is going to catch all of that and capture all that in real time, which is another reason that I think it's weird that so many people, my goodness, I'm getting this cold, 1 second. Seem to get so aggravated when people like myself are asking, for more eyes on a case, or people that actually have professional qualifications to do interviews, like Chris McDonough, for example, asking to talk to any of Sebastian Rogers' parents or ex-wives or anybody that was, I believe, close to Sebastian Rogers. And then people acting like, oh, well, they shouldn't talk to them. But sure, keep going on live streams and talking to creators. It's odd that you would think that we'd be encouraging all of that. And instead, it seems like there's this weird thing happening where it's bad to go towards people that might be bringing in resources or actual investigators. And it's like an oxymoron because it's an active case of a missing child. So you think that that's why we're all being called into action, right? We're all being called upon in one way or another to help. And then we find that this opposite effect continuously happens, whether it's a parent, whether it's a creator, a trauma creator, or whatever it is, defense attorney strategies, whatever, who knows, right? But it's interesting because that's what I've heard the whole time is, why don't you want to make more money? Why don't you? Who wouldn't want to make? Of course, I would like to make more money. Nobody is going to not want to have more money in your life. Even if you are very well off, you're always going to want more so you can do more, right? That's just how it is. So I found it really disingenuous when that gets used as a controlling factor when we're just talking about missing kids cases. It's odd, right? And then it's like, okay, well, you're the problem because you're calling attention to the reality that everybody that's not in these chat rooms willingly, openly is yelling from the rooftop, so to speak, when you talk to people. Lots of people are saying, like, how does all this, like, where do these people find you that want to bless you with thousands of dollars for just making fun of people? And it's like, well, it's not exactly that easy because that's not a thing. That's more of a defense strategy. That's more of a pay for play, roasting. It's not something that you normally would see in an active true crime investigation that the FBI has been very much involved in. And when I brought that up, it's like, oh, what is she doing? And then I get these emails. And it's like, are you in the reality, or where are we right now? We're talking about a child's disappearance. And you're not here for that. So where exactly did you come from? And why exactly are you bothering me or anybody like me, right? It's odd. And I noticed that there's this big disconnect that keeps happening. And I'm like, well, no, if I'm not going to, I'm just not going to do this. I don't care if I don't make any money, then that's fine. I don't need the damn money if that's where it's coming from, right? I'm not doing something that I feel is just morally, ethically, at the fiber of my being wrong. And I don't know why it's so bad. I don't know why people behave the way that they're behaving in the real life, and how, if at all, it connects to the online stuff. I'm sure it does somewhere in the mix. But it doesn't add up, and it's weird. And this isn't how you would work with people. And then to try to weaponize it as if some of us are the reason that people may get in trouble. I mean, I had people saying, oh, if you keep highlighting these parents' interviews the way that you are, they're going to use this as circumstantial evidence, and you're going to have somebody innocent arrested. I'm like, are you kidding? For hello? Have you ever watched true crime cases? That's all we do. You go over the evidence that we have in front of us. You go off of the on-the-record things, and the parents that have nothing to hide don't care. They want you to just talk about their child's case. That's all they care about, is getting it out there. They don't care if you're critiquing their words. What do they care? They just want their child. And there's absolutely nothing that I'm going to say on my little tiny 1 out of a billion people watching YouTube that is going to have that kind of an impact. And that's odd. Those kind of statements and things are odd. And if you are on the internet and you don't already know that the FBI is all over the internet because there's predators and there's all kinds of things that exist in society, and you're going to try to take it out on real people as if there is some secret thing happening here and we're breaking code. Well, there is no secret thing happening. We're watching this child on the news, assuming that he is truly missing and that everybody wants to find him. And as time goes on, you start to see that that may not exactly be the case, right? For some of us. And we're not going to not discuss what we're seeing because it upsets somebody on the internet, and then have it manipulated and flipped around, and then have all of these chatters. I've had all these subs that come in and they use the fear, right? They're like, well, it's dangerous, Mommy. It's dangerous. Don't talk about these people. They're dangerous. We're on the internet. We are on the internet. It is 2025. Okay? There is no way that talking about a case that is a public, it is very well known. It has been on TV. It has been on America's Most Wanted. The parents have put themselves out there. This is not a secret that you walked in on something that you shouldn't have walked in on one day, and now you don't know what to do. You walked in on something that you were never supposed to see, and now it's like, oh my God, what do you do? No, that's not what this is. Okay, you're on the internet. And if you're that concerned about safety and all this and that, then maybe you need to get to the cops and talk to them, because something obviously is burdening you and you need to go to the police and unburden yourself. Because it's weird. And that's the stuff that makes everything look extra shady. It could all be by design, right? Who knows? The parents in these cases might have absolutely nothing to do with their child's disappearance. But it doesn't mean that there's not somebody in the mix that does. We have no idea why things play out the way that they play out. But what I do know is there has always been an abnormal amount of people focused on money, and wanting to see how much money. And if we could, you could get all these views, well, then will you stop talking about this parent, or then will you talk bad about this person? And it's like, listen, if you're making content, you come to somebody and you talk like a real person. And I've said this before, right? If somebody wanted me to do content with them, they would come to me and they would say, hey, this is what I do on YouTube. Everybody knows how this is gone for years, right? You get 30% of you have to pay me 30%. You get to keep 60 or 70 or whatever. You network, you work together. You stick to certain things at different points in time, and that's it. It's called being a creator, right? That's a totally different situation. That's totally different. Nobody comes and talks like that. We're talking like the mafioso, right? And I'm in a mafia. Over here, we're in the mafia club, right? But it's a totally different type of mafia. We're not psychics. We're not trying to get in the know on whatever it is that's going on, but we don't like to keep being thrust into this weirdness. And there's a lot of weirdness because it's no different than playing investigator, right? We've had all these people that play investigators and they sit there and they act like they're law enforcement. And you think in the beginning sometimes that they are, because we have a lot of cases where the detectives, the investigators on the cases actually have done interviews on different podcasts, especially like the cold cases, right? Most recently, we had James Leblonsky. He's a missing young man that took off in his dad's van I think it was June 12th, 2023. And the detectives on his case did interviews on another true crime podcast. So sometimes you do see that crossover. But in this situation, that's not, in my opinion, what I've seen, right? So you've had people that portray themselves like they're investigating, and then you're like, well, you're not really investigating. Because if you're investigating, you're going to come as you are. You're going to say, hey, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so, or I'm the private investigating, blah, 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 blah. Instead, it's all of this weird stuff that keeps happening in this case. And that's why, in a way, I believe that we're going to have a lot of answers one day, very soon, for Sebastian, Summerwells, Layla Santinello, a lot of these missing kids cases, because of the shenanigans that have gone on around them. I really do. That's just my feelings on it. But again, for the record, since it seems that so many people are so interested in the money parts of stuff, if I was ever to earn more than what the channel is putting out, which I'm not so sure, guys, because this channel may stay stagnant for a while. The other channel, I'm on the trajectory of getting back up towards 32,000 like I had, a few years ago. I'm sure I would be bringing in 1,000 or 2 a month. That's going to take a little more time. But on this channel, I'm in the trauma algorithm from the pits of hell that I guess I was put in because I don't know what I don't know, and I don't even want to know what I don't want to know anymore, right? So anyway, I figured maybe it would lighten up on these weird emails and comments, because it's really odd. It's really weird. And okay, so anyway, let me get another drink here and take a breath. And then I could get back into my main parts of this whole trauma thing. And really trying to understand why the isolation of the normal average, not normal, but the average majority, you would think that people would want to know, especially parents, if they're worried that they're suspects in any way, shape, or form. You would think that they'd want to know the authentic perceptions that people have, like real, organic, honest to goodness perspectives on what they're seeing and hearing, not manipulated, whatever it's called. Very, very weird. Let's see. So I just have a little more of this. In another hour or so, when I come back on, we're going to be doing a couple of cases that I just want to talk about. I wanted to talk about Kristen David's disappearance, from 1981. I wanted to talk about Caden Moses, that was allegedly shot by his friend that was sitting to the left of him, but the friend denied it. That looks like it's getting a special prosecutor and being, investigated thoroughly, it looks like. And then James Leblonsky. Figured we'd come on and we'll talk about a bunch of these cases later. And then at that point in time, I'll drop the StreamYards link if anybody's interested in coming on and talking on panel. It's just this one, I just really want to get through all of this because it's stuff that I wrote down and put a lot of time into. So I don't want to kind of get off the beaten path of the main topic. That way, when the live's over, I can kind of edit it, and then anybody interested can listen to it a little easier, you know. But definitely later, I'm up for conversations if anybody else wanted to have a conversation. And you could always email me at 411ccan@gmail.com. So let's see, we left off before where I feel like the trauma kind of took root, right? So as the months started to drag on with Sebastian Rogers, it seemed like trauma kind of took hold of it, right? Live streams that featured the make-believe characters, anonymous personas, or exaggerated alter egos portraying real people in scripted skits. These weren't documentaries; they're more like real productions, right? Like Laura Lodge presented things more of a documentary style, and then he had those 2 interviews. But these are more, and this is, by the way, I'm sure most of you, hopefully this goes without saying, there are many creators that have discussed Sebastian or other cases like that, or Summer Wells, or, Kristen David, for example, even Caden Moses, or what people that are covering, Melody or Ashley right now, that are not at all what I'm discussing when it comes to trauma. The trauma seems to be just a very select group of different characters, right? So there's a lot of people that, like Josh, the Lab, Chris McDonough, a lot of people that I do not believe are engaging in that kind of thing at all. So, I mean, hopefully nobody's taking my words and thinking I'm directing it towards anyone specifically, because I'm not. This is just an overall generalization on what I've experienced and what it seems like when I talk to other people that have watched some of this over the years. So, with the parents of missing children being so desperate for any spotlight on the cases, you would think at first they do actually appear as willing guests, and then they quickly may find out that the entertainment is really not good. It's an entertainment factor that is not about highlighting the disappearance and trying to find answers for the missing child. It turns into controlled opposition in a lot of ways, and baiting, and kind of almost like, causing drama, right? By having different fake it till you make it type of conversations in the chats, coming in and out, stirring the pot, and creating a lot of these parental fights, right? And they start the rumor mill of the neglect, infidelity, or even worse rumors. And then you have all the fighting in the comment sections. And, any creator that starts questioning any of the narratives, well, then you're attacked, right? I was attacked right away for asking questions about some of the creators and what they were saying during their searches. And I still find it shocking that anybody would be upset with me asking about the guy that was searching with them and making sure that everybody was being safe because of the stuff that he was doing on the live streams. I mean, when you're tagging and searching for missing kids, but you're also saying that you're worried that the bodies are thawing out, and you're showing things that look like wrapped bodies and tarps and bones, and you would think that we would all be in agreement that, hey, maybe we need to make sure that that person's vetted, and let's make sure that we understand why they're making that kind of content while searching for a child, right? Hello? Is this not true crime? I mean, do we have any type of situational awareness? Do we use profiling or safety or see something, say something at all? Because in any other part of the true crime genre, you're not going to attack the one person that was asking you from the sincerity to just make sure everything was cool and you guys were good, right? It was very, very odd, very odd. Anybody that starts to highlight the inconsistencies in the different stories of the parents, it seems like that automatically becomes content, right? And then we had, sadly, Sebastian's case, which when you look back on hindsight is 2020, so to speak, it looks like that case really amplified this toxicity. And for all of you that are unaware, Sebastian is a 15-year-old. Now he'll be 17 next week. And he went missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. They say he was last seen on the 25th of February, 2024. His mom, Katie Proudfoot, reported missing. I think she reported that he was missing, or the stepdad actually called in that he was missing, saying that she had heard a thud in the night, but she didn't check on him. There was no footprints, no sightings, just endless speculations. And what could have been a unified search effort, right, in a lot of ways, fractured really into like factions, right? This whole unified search that you would think of people would be coming together kind of crumbled because it became all fighting. You had YouTubers like Bullhorn Betty. I mean, they have a history of appearing in reality TV style drama and stuff and stirring controversies. And that's not saying anything bad about them, but they have been on different shows, right? They have done little like reality type, true crime type shows or whatever on actual networks. Many others have accused her, as well as many other people, of grifting to spread misinformation, fundraising under the guise of helping, while lawsuits flew all over for defamation claims. And there was lots of cease and desist. Even now, you can't use anything other than the official FBI or TBI flyer when it comes to Sebastian without explicit consent from one of the parents, apparently. And like I said, this is nothing against Bullhorn Betty. It's just, I'm just using it as an example that there are a lot of these creators that have had their foot in the door for like reality TV type Hollywood style flair in a lot of ways, which adds to speculation, right? It just makes people question why parents would go to certain creators when you have people like Chris McDonough, Vinnie Politan, Nancy Grace, Jennifer Coffindale, you have News Nation, Court TV, so many people at your disposal that want to help, that actually seem to have professional credentials within this field, right? And not saying that other people like Bullhorn Betty don't have, a lot to offer in their own ways, but it's just like, if your child's missing, where are you going to go for help, right? That's just the way that a lot of people have talked to me about it. It just adds to this is kind of, kind of like, doesn't make sense. Even Sebastian's father, his biological dad, now runs a YouTube channel, right? And has updates, and he shares frustrations while clashing, with the Proudfoot family, Sebastian's mother and stepfather. And then the creators exploit the divide. They monetize the live debates and have exclusive reveals that often prove very baseless. But people use this, and then they'll review it, and they'll go back and forth and back and forth, and it creates a lot of revenue, it seems, for them. And the Krama really thrives on, I guess, grifting, so to speak. This is where this whole grifting thing comes from. And the creators are starting to be like, oh, I need money to search. I need money to travel for this. I need money to travel for that. And it just leads a lot of people to speculate, because really, if you want to do something, should you be doing it if you can't afford to do it, right? Like, should you really be doing it if you can't afford it? But I guess if people are willing to give you the money to do it, then sure. But that's why a lot of people just think that it's kind of, unsettling, because there's so many people and so many organizations that are professional that could come in and do certain things, if they're, if they have the revenue, if they have the resources, because it does take money. And when that money is just going to regular, people, as opposed to people that might actually make an impact or a difference, it does cause a lot of people to speculate. It does. It is what it is. I mean, there's no reason to get mad at me for just talking about, the obvious, right? But I'm sure a lot of people are not, happy about it for whatever reason. I'm sure. And like I said, if you guys have anything to chime in on, just email me. Or if you want to come up later and we can talk about some of this, I'd love to hear your perspective. I'd love to try to understand it, because I didn't know what this whole trauma thing was exactly. It's all really new to me, a lot of it. And it just seems like a lot of it is two wings of the same bird. Doesn't seem like, I don't know. Seems odd. It just seems odd, But I'm always open to learning and understanding and, trying to see, the good and stuff. Because I do know that when people are missing, it is not easy to get people to engage and to pay attention. I mean, some people just even turn the alerts off on their phones because they just don't want to be bothered. And in Tennessee, it seems like there's so many people that go missing here that people really just blend in. I mean, it's horrible, but there's a lot of people that go missing in Tennessee. And then there's a lot of creators that need to cover that. But we have had a lot of creators, when I looked back on these other cases, that they come in, they ask for a bunch of donations for searches or things like that, and they never materialize. They never actually go host the event or meet people or do anything that they said they were going to do when they were crowdsourcing, or producing content, that then attacks the skeptics to protect their narrative. So they're automatically start going out and saying that somebody's crazy or somebody's a liar or somebody's this or that, when in all reality, that's just not the case. It's just not the case at all. And while it seems like the channels don't grow that much, they stay very stagnant with their viewers, it's still disheartening, because as new people come in, they have no idea what happened yesterday, let alone a year ago, 2 years ago. It's the internet. So you could just keep rebranding and nobody will know anything. Nobody will have a clue unless the algorithm pushes something through and they see another side. And even when they see another side, they're not going to know if they could believe it or not, because people's fake messages, they fake text messages, they can make videos, and they can take voice imprints and make people say things that aren't even them. I mean, it's really the Wild West when it comes to certain things with manufacturing content with AI these days. I mean, in Sebastian's case, with an active FBI investigation that offers a $50,000 reward, channels rake in the views by questioning the parents' odd behaviors. And they do it a lot, right? Like the inconsistent stories, lack of home security footage. But when critics point fingers, they are doxxed or labeled haters, right? This isn't journalism. It's just not. It's entertainment at the expense of justice, in my opinion, and many others' opinions. Families already are shattered, they become pawns, and their pain is, commodified for ad revenue. I mean, webs of creators fuel this machine. Many have zero credentials as independent investigative journalists. They have absolutely no ethics. They're not private investigators. I mean, it is what it is. Then when I looked it up, Brock gave me a ton of names. And here's the names that Brock gave me when I asked about Prama. Brock says, Illuminati, Jonesin, Deets on the Streets, Queen Bee, Watch Them Pearls, Elevated Truth Podcast, Duchess for the Missing, Nonsense, allegedly Brittany J. J is for Justice, Julie Skolnick, allegedly innocent, Mr. and Mrs. East, Crimecast, Primetime Buzz, Silver's on the Scene, Letters to Esme, Hope Floats, Jackpot Happy, Lady Freedom Raw Narratives, Astrology with Mystics, Prayer Garden, Six Up Media, Reverend Donald Serafini, Sweetie Pilo, T-Rev 757, and Dolly Vision dominate the discourse. Figures like Bullhorn Betty and Heather Cohen, with ties to reality TV appearances and entertainment flair, prioritize Hollywood-style spectacles over advocacy for the missing, including Don't F with Cats, one of the founders, which is Body Movin'. They seem to be the only voices allowed to cover cases like Summer Wells or Sebastian, for example, often aligning with families while silencing dissent and making other people look like something they are not, to control a narrative. How is this permitted, one may ask? Well, free speech protections under the First Amendment allow it, but the ethical alarm bells have been ringing for quite some time. So this was Grok, right? That's not me. You can go ask Grok or ChatGPT and see what answer they give you. But that was what Grok said to me. Grok, and that's the expert level of Grok that I have on. Now, our biggest concerns, I know, as all the people that I have talked to about everything, the biggest concern isn't even anything to do with the cases. Nobody wants to go real life. Nobody wants to know who the creators are or anything like that unless there was a real, legal reason, unless they have done something that you are worried that could be affecting your actual life in any way. Then of course you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself, right, legally. But most people nobody wants to know anything about YouTubers, right? Nobody's here to get into people's big lies or find out what their real life is like. We're just here to learn about cases or have discussions with other people, and that's it. That's all we're doing, right? And let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Where's that little video clip I wanted to show? But a lot of us were really concerned about how this kind of stuff over the years was incentivizing people to fake their child disappearances. And that's what a lot of the talk is when you look on Reddit, when you talk to local journalists, when you talk to local investigators. And by local, I mean that have had this happen in their jurisdictions, right? That have had these cases that become entertainment sensationalized with evidence enhanced and alleged neighbors, this, that, and the third, that fall under this free speech and, propaganda loopholes that are going on. And it says, pretty clearly to a lot of people, it really looks like it's an ecosystem that would incentivize people to fake disappearances, right? Because it's like a promise of viral fame, even if the viral fame is not that viral, even if it's only a couple thousand people. I mean, we have like 8 million that live in Tennessee. And if people even get, 20,000 views, to them, they're famous, right? So when you look at these cases, you see this promise of quote unquote viral fame, donation, monetized content. It really created a perverse reward system that scammers already exploit fake missing kids posts on social media to steal money and information all the time. And with true crime channels profiting off a tragedy, turning personal loss into lucrative entertainment is a real slippery slope, right? It really is, because you want to get these cases discussed. And sadly, there has to be a level of entertainment in some way that makes people talk about these active cases or cold cases and stuff to actually bring awareness and attention to try to get them solved, right? But there's got to be some sort of moral ethics, right? There has to be some sort of fine line. I mean, having parents gain notoriety and wealth with viewers donating to help while the search drags on indefinitely is a problem. It's a huge problem. There's no sides to that. That's just reality. It's just how it is. I mean, even more chilling, could trauma serve as a tool for defense attorneys advising clients to cover up a murderer? Right? I mean, these are all questions that people ask themselves all these years. It's a plausible thing to wonder and speculate on. It's not something to get mad at me or anybody else that talks about this stuff. These are just plausible things. We're talking about true crime. We're talking about active cases. I mean, how is that not a plausible potential scenario that defense attorneys wouldn't be advising clients of how to utilize social media in their defense to cover something up, like a Casey Anthony type situation? I mean, really, I think it's plausible. I agree with people that say it is, because if you think about flooding social media with the drama, conflicting narratives, misinformation, perpetrators could muddy the waters, right? They could create reasonable doubt very easily this way. Defense lawyers already use social media evidence to challenge prosecutions. Orchestrating trauma would amplify confusion, diverting focus from evidence to spectacle and potentially stalling out investigations. Right? I mean, that's obvious, I think. That's just my opinion. Like, I just think it's absolutely obvious. Yes, hang on one second. Let me see what she's doing. What's up? Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. So there's a bunch of different websites that talk about this. I'm trying to see if I could pull one up and just let you see really quick what I'm talking about. So here's one of many websites that talk about social media posts impacting criminal defense cases. And it says, could social media posts impact a criminal defense case? Social media has undeniably become a significant part of modern life. Research estimates that nearly 5.24 billion social media users in the world using platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok allow the users to share thoughts, photos, and videos with just the tap of the screen. But what many may overlook is the powerful role that social media can play in the realm of legal proceedings, particularly particularly criminal defense cases. Do you see this, guys? Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see how, I mean, to me, it's just, that's why I'm like, is there just a disconnect? I don't know. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, you know? Yes, in the next segment, Justin, if you would like, I'll have the link out. Because this one I'll be wrapping up soon. And that one I'll be more able to talk and have people come on if they would like. Hi, Mama. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. Anybody have anything special today with Thanksgiving? Do you see about how all of this is with the social media and how the lawyers can use it? Let's see what else. No, I'm not accusing Wozniak or anybody. Mm-mm. We're just talking about all different perspectives and how it looks different to different people for different reasons, and why there's a lot of confusion and misunderstandings. But that's the stuff that, is kind of strange when everybody's always making it about something when it's not about something. It raises like kind of red flags a little bit, because it doesn't make sense. Like, what would make you think I'm talking and attacking any of the parents or any of the creators with what we're discussing? I'm not attacking anybody. We're having just an open conversation from my perspective and from those that I have talked to, and how it differs substantially from a lot of what we've encountered online when we've been discussing these cases. I have always said that I was willing to talk to people, but nobody has reached out to me, and I'm not reaching out and inserting myself and annoying people or anything like that. If somebody wanted to talk to me, they know that I had, most people know where I live, unfortunately. A lot of people I have run into when I've been out and about, whether it's at the river, fishing with the kids, or at one of their activities, or shopping. But I would rather not have that happen in the real world. But people have my email, they have my Google number, even my personal number. Many people have my personal number too. So people, they could easily reach out to me and talk to me and just tell me, whatever it is that they want me to know. And yeah, maybe it would have helped, but I'm not trying to, I didn't come on, I guess, like a lot of people might have come on wanting to make money off of these children's cases. I really was trying to, figure out, like, how can we help? What could help? What could bring, people that have the ability to search, or, what could bring resources in, especially with all the stuff that's been going on with the serial unalivings and everything that's happening, with I mean, if you go into Nashville, a lot of people will sit there and tell you that the homeless are unaliving people, so don't go to this area because the homeless are unaliving people and throwing you in the river. And then other people say, oh, we have serial unalivers in these areas, and we have this trafficking, and we have this. And I mean, it's a whole weird thing when you get out and about and you talk to people, you know? There's a lot of stuff going on in Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Indiana. And I know it's like this all over the world, right? We have all kinds of things that happen everywhere. But no, I never, I just want, my personal enjoyment when it comes to content, I don't like to talk about the sad and the depressing. Personally, I would much rather do entertainment and, comedy and stuff like that. I would, because life is tough when you have to be a caregiver to special needs. It's a lot. It's stressful, right? So personally, when I'm doing content and stuff, I'd much rather be doing things that are not as heavy, but at least if I'm going to do true crime and we're going to cover the cases at all, I want to try to do it with some level of ethics and integrity. Because these children deserve it. Victims deserve it. Everybody deserves that, in my opinion, right? But no, I'm not opposed to talking to people. I've never said that I wouldn't talk to people. It's just talking to people on panels and stuff doesn't seem to make much sense from my experience. You're just making other people content, because if you're on there, then there's nothing you can do. People can just say what they want, make up what they want. You're on your own. But in regular traditional conversations and open discourse and stuff like that, yes, I would go on panels. I love to talk to people. I enjoy not being in an echo chamber. I like hearing different perspectives. I can understand things. I don't have to agree with something, but I can understand somebody's point of view on things. Even with cases and stuff, sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes people do snap. They do things that maybe I or you may not understand, but there's reasons that once you understand them, they might help to make stuff make more sense, right? But no, I don't. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't have a bias in that way, I guess, because I've never connected with the parents of any of these missing children. So I just go off of, what I hear and, just my perceptions and stuff like that. Right. So I guess it's a good thing because I don't have a bias in that way. But I never said that I'm opposed to it or that I wouldn't talk to people or actually work with people, in a real production or a real network or whatever. No, I've never said that ever. Ever. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. sunshine and kitty cats. Sorry that you feel that way, because I've never said that, and that's not my intention, and it's never been my intention. But anyway, let me just finish this one up here. So if you just look at all the different things that happen with social media and how they can, affect cases, right? This is from lucidlaw.com. And he talks about success stories and stuff. And he talks about how social media content is increasingly being used as evidence in criminal cases, playing a pivotal role for both prosecutors and defense attorneys. For example, prosecutors might use a public Snapchat photo to place a defendant at the scene of a crime, undermining their alibi. And on the other hand, a defense lawyer could relay on a timeline of Twitter posts to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, questioning the accuracy of their actual evidence. So this dual-sided nature of social media evidence highlights how these platforms can be both assets and liabilities in criminal defense cases. It says, what can be used as evidence? Social media evidence can take many forms, including public posts. Anything you post publicly on platforms like Facebook or Twitter, which is now X, can be used by prosecutors or defense attorneys to build their case. Private messages. Despite being labeled private, messages on platforms like Instagram and direct chats on Facebook or WhatsApp can be subpoenaed in legal cases. Photos and videos. Multimedia that places you at a specific time or location or shows specific actions often comes under scrutiny. Comments and interactions with others, such as arguments or affiliations, may be used to demonstrate intent, relationships, or connections that are critical in a case. Posts that have been removed or are not necessarily gone forever. Social media companies often store user data that can be retrieved later. So it says common ways your social media can be used against you. One is direct evidence. Sharing incriminating content such as photos of illegal activity or boasting about a crime can serve as direct evidence against you. For example, posting videos of reckless driving could turn a minor charge into a much more serious accusation. Contradictory statements, which is something we hear a lot when it comes to the parents' interviews and things like that in Summerwell's or Sebastian Rogers cases, or Stephanie Dameron, or even Jack and Lily lately, right? Let's see. Posts that contradict claims or alibis made to law enforcement may damage a defendant's credibility. A post timestamped during the alleged incident could disprove an alibi or a statement. Accusations. So here we go. Associations and relationships. Relationships demonstrated via tagged photos, comments, or interactions can establish links to co-defendants or victims, which prosecutors might use to suggest complicity or motive. Saying people are complicit or have a motive, right? Behavior reflecting poor character. Although unrelated to specific charges, inflammatory comments, threats, or offensive language on a social media profile may be used to portray a defendant in a negative light, potentially influencing a judge or jury. I mean, there's just so many of these guys, so many of these. And that's why some people speculate that the parents don't want us going over any of their stuff because they're afraid they're all going to be implicated in something, and that some of the local YouTubers are even more upset because they're afraid they're going to be implicated. And that's where a lot of the rumors come, right? And the speculation comes, is from all the legalities that we don't hear it talked about very much. We don't really hear it cross over into this little genre that we found ourselves in. People that delete incriminating posts often instinctive when facing different criminal accusations. However, it can backfire significantly. Courts may interpret post deletions as evidence tampering, which is a separate criminal offense. Oh my goodness. Even the videos I made, I'm pretty sure that I still had them on link only, because somebody had said that you don't want to delete stuff. Of course, I have nothing to do with anybody's criminal stuff. But just in general, I think that when you have stuff on the internet, if anything, probably is a good idea not to delete it. Now, obviously, if you're making statuses or you're just, nonchalantly, then there's no reason for you not to delete something. We're talking about if somebody's actually doing something wrong, right? And they know they're doing something wrong. However, the good thing is that almost all these social media platforms, while it might take a while after getting warrants, all of the information is there. Nothing is going to be deleted, right? So anybody that was posting or editing and doing things, it'll all be there when all of the data comes back. It says what to do to protect yourself during legal proceedings. Pause posting immediately. Refrain from posting anything new. Even harmless updates can be misinterpreted depending on the context. Adjust your privacy settings. Strengthen your privacy settings. Limit the audience for your posts. Monitor mentions and tags. Audit your past posts. Work with an attorney to conduct a careful review of your social media profile, identifying any content that might be damaging to your case. Never discuss your case on social media, including in private messages. These discussions are not protected and can be subpoenaed. If you believe your social media activity may influence a criminal investigation or a trial, seeking legal counsel is imperative. Criminal defense attorneys understand the intricacies of legal proceedings and how to manage the risks associated with digital evidence. And then it just does a pitch for how they can help. Navigating a criminal case in the digital age is much more complex than ever. Social media evidence, whether incriminating or exonerating, is a prominent force in today's legal landscape. Missteps in how you manage your online presence can jeopardize your defense, so it's essential to carefully consider your actions. So that's just one of many things, that we could talk about from the legal perspective. And I've learned so much. So much from looking into all of this. And I'm going to be a lot carefuler when I talk and say things. While it may not be breaking the law, I'm pretty sure at some point in time, these laws are going to get tightened up a little bit. Because it's just shocking that you could do all these things that I've been learning, and there's like a loophole. Like it's it's like, oh my gosh, it's really been shocking, and it makes me want to be a little more careful when I'm covering certain things, because I don't know. But yeah, one of the big things that people are worried about for a long time is incentivizing anybody to fake missing persons or disappearances or use it as a cover up. Because if you can have money and fame by having it carry out indefinitely, then there'll never be a resolve to active investigations. It is plausible, as we've just seen, that defense attorneys, people might advise their clients, to cover something up by utilizing all of these different strategies, right? And create reasonable doubt, muckying the water. The serious red flags that keep coming up is just not going to go away just because people want to scare us into not talking about it. It doesn't stop it. right? The red flags are not going to go away. I mean, look at the whole Reddit that talks about a ring, for goodness sakes, and the speculation that comes of all of that, right? There's this whole speculation that there's a ring operating under the guise of YouTubers and private search groups, and that they're really running a business exploiting missing children and their parents. And the FBI, while focused on active cases, especially ones like Sebastian, right? We just saw that they're definitely focused on Sebastian Rogers and Stephanie Damron. And we have breaks in Summer Wells's case. But yeah, the FBI investigating child abductions and exploitation, but specific probes into grifters remain kind of murky and unclear. Patterns of coordinated misinformation signal organized fraud, warranting scrutiny, and you would think with the technology that is utilized on the internet that would already have triggered FBI to be looking into all these different things years ago, because they have a lot of technology that triggers different things and makes people look into things, especially when it comes to money and all this and that and the third and the fourth, right? There's so many different things. And then you have voices that had come in and they had put their 2 cents in, right? Me, I'm just a little mom that has been trying to figure stuff out. I mean, it changes daily, right? Like I understood content, I understood certain aspects, but I was like flabbergasted every which way of this case. I mean, flabbergasted. It just shocks me every day. I'm like, what is happening? But in the beginning of this, I did not expect what we all know was coming. I didn't expect parents to be buddying up with people. I didn't expect any of it. Like, oh, deer in headlights. Deer in headlights was I. But we can just learn, right? That's all we can do is learn. And there was people that did have a large following, though, that came before those of us that just started to put stuff together and ask questions, right? And some of those voices were people like Ryan Upchurch, right? Ryan Upchurch, a Tennessee country musician who has drawn attention and lawsuits, right? He's been sued, and I guess he's trying to sue. I'm not quite sure if he wanted to sue about the free speech component, because he started ringing alarm bells saying that a lot of these cases were completely fake and that victims weren't even real people. And he said, like Kylie Rodney's case, he accused authorities of staging it, fueling skepticism. He fueled the skepticism about the legitimate disappearance, because they say that is a legitimate disappearance, but he was raising the alarm bells that a lot of these cases are completely fake and that there's just different cogs in the wheel, different, different corrupt police or a sheriff or somebody that goes along with it, whether it's for money, whether it's for politics, elections, whatever, who the heck knows. But he raised a lot of alarms about that, and he's been trying to get and sue over it, and brings a lot of other things up about traffic and different stuff. And the thing is that whether you believe things that these people say, whether you think that they've gone off the deep end or whatever it is, it's so disingenuous to sit here and to claim that we don't have a real traffic issue in our country, that parents don't really get rid of their children, that people don't actually get sold and bad things don't go on the dark web, that the whole organ thing doesn't happen when we just had hospitals under investigation for people waking up on the table that were donating organs, right? We have a lot of stuff that's happening that is a reality. And it's really a shame that people try to pretend like none of it exists, especially in a genre that we're trying to talk about, true crime, and raise awareness and safety and hold people accountable. I don't think it's right that we downplay the severity of how some of these evil atrocities are really off the charts. They are off the charts in a lot of ways. the amount of serial killers that are happening with the truckers and the databases that have been built to try to identify and curtail and end some of the serial unalivings just by the truckers. And I mean, it's really bad. So we have the serial unalivers, and, you know, it's a lot of stuff, and it's just, I don't know. It's just a shame. It's a shame that just because we don't like something or we don't like someone, that we're going to downplay such a serious issue that we need to come together and we need to help. We do not want to have it flourish, right? We don't want to incentivize it. We don't want to make it, make people popular or make them wealthy. You want to do the opposite. You want to lock them up, right? You're never going to want to incentivize the unimaginable. And then on the other side of everything, with Ryan Upchurch's whole situation, is you have the private investigator, like SF Investigates, Steve Fisher, right? He was bringing credible attention, so it appeared, on some of the shows that he went on, but then he appeared on certain platforms like Lore Lodge, News Nation, Court TV, where he discusses leads on different cases, where he talks about potential video evidence that could crack cases, but then you're hearing that it's not real evidence and that it's not credible. And I mean, it's just like confusing, right? Because it's like, wait a minute. Is that real? Is that not real? Is this guy legitimate? Why does it seem like he's not legitimate? Was he a photographer? What was he? What is, like, it just creates a lot of confusion, which just fuels more speculation and drives more rumors. But these people do get more popular and they get more famous in a way, and they make a lot more money, right? So sometimes you have to think, is it rage content? Are we using rage baiting in some of this because it is something that people want to stop? So they don't care what they look like. They don't care how kookadoo they look or how crooked they look. If they could help to solve something that happened to some innocent person, some atrocity, an unaliving or a kidnapping or something like that, then they're willing to do it. So they may look shady in some ways, but they may be really helping in a bigger picture that we're just not aware of. That's very possible too. But here's the big burning question that everybody has asked. How is all of this legal? How is all of what a lot of us have watched legal? I didn't think about it. I mean, I have found time and time again, it is totally not against the law. It seems like you can manipulate things, you can change people's appearance, you can make evidence, you can have stage this, stage that, fake this, fake that, and it seems like it's not illegal. I know. I don't know specifically what is, what isn't, but it does seem like overall a lot of things aren't. They're not illegal. And that's why there's big business for it. You see, in the United States, the First Amendment, it does shield free speech, even if it's false or harmful, as long as it doesn't cross into defamation, incitement to violence, or direct interference with justice. So those seem to be the three main things that it may not be legal if it's inciting violence, if it crosses over to defamation, and if it's interfering with justice. And that's why it's very mucky around these active cases. And I feel that if we are going to talk about some of these cases, we have to be really careful with our wording. because none of us would want to break the law. We want to help. We don't want to add any stress to the investigators that are already beyond overworked, exhausted, and are sick and tired of being played for a fool off the backs of missing kids, real or fictional. I'm sure we do have cases that have been fictional. We do. We have them. We can talk about them in another show. But irregardless, we have a lot of amazing people. I know many of you that listen to this chat, that listen to the channel, that chat. A lot of you don't chat because you don't want to deal with the toxicity, so you'll send an email or send a text. And I know a lot of us really do genuinely care. Sure, I want to make an income being a creator and a podcaster. Of course, I wouldn't put time and effort in if I didn't, but I don't want to do it in a way that could ever harm any case or hurt people emotionally or anything. Never. Legally, no. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. We just want to talk. We want to speculate. We want to do what we've always done when it comes to discussing true crime and when we watch trials on TV and stuff like that. We're not trying to interfere. We're not trying to cause confusion or distractions that could actually impact the investigation. And we also don't want to make it glorified to incentivize people to do something horrible because they want the same attention. So it's a hard thing to try to navigate. Because I, of course, like everyone else, I do want to make an income and try to have a podcasting channel that's what I love to do. And if you could find something that you enjoy doing, then you'll never work a day in your life, right? So that's what I always aspire to have, because I just enjoy it. I like talking to people. I like understanding people. I like finding what we have in common. My older son's always laughing about how my brain works, and how I see things and understand things, how I have like a photographic type of memory. My interest in stuff is not the same as a lot of people's. I can't sit down and really get into, a sports story and root for one team over another, but I could sit down and we can go back and forth and talk about all kinds of stuff when it comes to different cases, different statistics or different things, depending on what it is, like medically or autism, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, of course, we're all here for different reasons, but I can't do the I don't even know how to put it into words, but I can't do the content if it crosses over into something that I feel could really be harming people. And when I look back upon that whole Kiwi Farms debacle and all of the people that we have online that literally want people to take their lives, they literally want people to suffer, and they enjoy that. I don't want to be around that. If somebody has participated in that for no reason other than just wanting to watch somebody suffer, I can't rationalize that. I don't want to go back and forth making content. It's not an easy thing to say no to. I mean, obviously, $10,000 a month. Can you imagine the stuff that I could do for the kids for their therapies? Some people laugh about $8,000 or $10,000 like it's nothing. That $8,000 or $10,000 would not only get my service dog for my daughter, but I would be able to help maybe try to have service dogs and start my own to help other families. But I can't look at the money like that. I just can't do it. I just cannot do it. I've tried every way to Sunday to rationalize some of these behaviors. And I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but I'm just saying, like, I cannot myself do it. I just can't understand wanting to participate if you know your ultimate goal is because you want to see somebody hurt themselves. How could you do that? I can't understand that. And we've watched it over the years. We're losing our children left and right. 1 out of 10 children with autism is trying to take their life now. 1 out of 4 will think about doing it. We just lost a beautiful little girl. She was in Vanderbilt Hospital, I believe, in Nashville for a while. So many of our children are trying to take their lives over stuff like this. So to act like it's only the internet and it really can't be any harm and people shouldn't have to, have any responsibility, that's just nonsensical. That's not reality. It's one thing if you have channels and you have your 18 and over warning and everybody knows what's going on. We can go back and forth till the cows come home. I could go round for round. I have very thick skin. I could be kind of funny sometimes, even when I'm not trying. But it has to be it can't be where it actually could hurt somebody. And some of this stuff that I've found crosses into the real world. People literally will bother you in your real life to try to make you look nuts. They'll take an emblem off your car. They'll mimic things that is what happens when people are targeted by trafficking. They'll do things in real time in people's real lives. They'll call your in-laws. They'll call your job. When I say they, it's because I don't know who they are. I have no idea. That's different. That's not content. That's not, it's just not. I don't know what that is, but it's wrong. And I can't do it. And if somebody can't be honest with me and have conversations with me and explain to me what's happening, then I can't go back and forth. And no matter how much money I'm losing. I would never want that to happen to my children or anybody that I love. So I just can't. I can't participate. I need more honesty. I need people to have more honest conversations and tell me what is going on. And some of you know what I'm talking about. It's not meant for live stream. Don't mean it like that. But yeah, I mean, the First Amendment, it does. It shields free speech. And I'm not into cancel culture. I do think people should be able to say whatever we want to say. I do think so. I absolutely do believe that free speech is the most important thing, if not one of the most important things that we have in America. And it's something that we have to uphold, even when it's uncomfortable. But free speech doesn't mean that there's not all kinds of consequences. Hate speech is not protected, right? So like we talked about before, there are things that just because you can say it doesn't mean that it isn't going to have some legal ramifications, right? But back to the burning question about free speech. Even when it's false or harmful, as long as it doesn't cross into defamation, incitement to violence, or direct interference with justice, then there's nothing wrong with it. Fake news isn't a crime. Propaganda thrives because the Supreme Court has long protected opinion, and even falsehoods, unless they cause probable harm, like in libel cases. Since 1964's New York Times v. Sullivan, public figures must prove actual malice for defamation suits, knowing falsehood or reckless disregard for truth, right? Hi, Little Red. Hang on one second, guys. We're having an iPad meltdown. So let me go see if I can help, if I could figure out what power bank. We got to get her a second one again because she needs it for communicating. But unfortunately, we go through too many of them. One moment. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's see. So anyway, the bottom line is that in these types of cases, and you know the FBI is involved, they're always going to be involved on anything online. And we've heard from the very early on how much the parents were asking them to be involved and asking them to help with Sebastian. The father just did another call to action asking for them. And many people have said, please take the lead on Sebastian Rogers' case, for example, right? Very early on, Nancy Grace and many people. And so when that's going on, you have to realize that, yeah, of course there could be all different things that happen in charges and things, because spreading misinformation could theoretically lead to obstruction charges if it impedes investigations, right? I mean, it's rare, it's hard to prove, but just the experiences that me and many others have had, just trying to talk about Sebastian and talk about missing children, the amount of red flags from the stuff that has gone on, you would think that people really are concerned that they're going to get in trouble for something, whoever they are, right? Whoever they are, whoever it is that does the weird stuff. I mean, there's been plenty of us that when we've talked, it's like, oh, it feels like it's a production. Like it's not real. You have somebody come up to you and talk cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's like, what? That doesn't happen. It's like, where's the candid cameras? What reality TV show are we manufacturing? What is this, you know? So while it may be rare and hard to prove, it does seem like there could be something going on. Monetizing children's disappearances. It's not outright illegal, but YouTube really does ban content that exploits minors or endangers them emotionally. And Sebastian Rogers could very well be alive. People talking about his personal life, people talking about his trauma, people talking about what makes him a victim. That's not exploiting a minor. That's not endangering them emotionally. I get it. True crime channels often skirt this by focusing on public interest. And COPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, targets data collection from kids under 13, not discussions about missing people. But if the content is defaming individuals, lawsuits can involve, and they can follow, as seen in Crama Feuds. But platforms are not liable under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. The big problem I know many are having is this fake video and the fake personas, the deep fakes emerging. States are starting to ban them in elections or non-consensual things. But no federal blanket No federal blanket prohibition exists. Prohibition. Now that doesn't. Yeah, prohibition. The deep fakery, right? The AI that's talking, that looks like somebody, that sounds like somebody, it is getting banned for certain things. But there's not a blanket federal prohibition that is stopping it, right? If used for fraud and harassment, existing laws apply, but creative productions in Crama often fall into protected satire or opinion. Of course, it should ethically be a crime in an active case because it does divert resources, traumatizes families, muddies evidence, but legally, proposals like the FTC's ban on fake review hint at tighter rules. But balancing free speech is tricky. Until laws catch up, trauma persists. Profiting from pain while justice is just waiting. It is what it is, guys, until there's laws. Or until people are actually prosecuted, and then there is a standard that is set. I think once people realize that not everything is free speech, that there are a lot of rules, there are a lot of legalities, there are a lot of things that you can and cannot do in this world, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you just have to find, what are you comfortable with? What are you comfortable watching and supporting, and what are you not? And that becomes quite difficult when you don't know what is real and what isn't real. I absolutely understand that. I mean, it really feels like, are we ever going to get justice and answers? Or is drama just going to overtake the active, real missing children's cases now? Allowing them to just continue to go unsolved while parents become famous and wealthy off the child's disappearance, and anybody that is nice enough to the parents get selected to get famous and rich as well. And then all of us regular people that are just here thinking that there might be something we can do to help in some way, just continue to get deleted, erased, stomped on, blotted out, slandered, have our real lives destroyed in a lot of ways, affect our ability to have our jobs and future income and future potential employers that no longer would even consider working with somebody because all of this propaganda has been put on their name. Recordings that are manipulated and not even real, many of them made by AI and being presented behind the scenes as if they're credible, utilized to intimidate, embarrass, and slander the heck out of people. The scary part is that some of the people that it happens to might hold the most important keys to stopping some of the most unimaginable crimes, potentially. That is what the rumor mill is when it comes to how out of hand this has all been across this world for the last decade. Because in the end, this whole new trauma thing isn't just entertainment, really, it's a warning. When drama overshadows the missing, who really wins? Definitely not the children, and definitely not the truth. It is really crazy. And it's sad. Because I genuinely think that there's a lot of good people that really, for example, with Summer Wells or Sebastian Rogers or Jackie Lee Sullivan or a lot of these cases, they genuinely want to help and they think they're helping. There's a lot of people that are not trying to impede an investigation or cover up the unimaginable. I think people are just in different places at different points in time. Many people are just doing a job. Many people are just literally doing content because that's what they're hired to do. That's what their 1099 is. Many people may be private investigators. Some could be undercover. actually working on different cases. We don't know. But this genre that's created of trauma, I don't understand it. I'm hoping somebody will reach out and explain to me a little more so I can understand, because there's so much that I don't know because I didn't watch the cases like this. When I go back and I look at different things and then I remember, that's different. A lot of us, I think, didn't realize that a lot of these same creators were around for the last 4.5 years. They just had different avatars or different names, right? But I thank you all for hanging out and joining me while we talk about all of this stuff, because I think it's important. I like to clarify and answer a lot of the questions that I get in the emails and the comments and the texts without, putting people's names out there on blast, so to speak. And I think I did that. I hope I cleared up a lot of stuff for those that have been confused. And if I didn't, oh well, what are you going to do? Some people are just never satisfied. And there's nothing you can do about it. It is the internet. You will just have your occasional trolls that just are trolls. But I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving and you think about all of this. And is there anything that we can do that is helpful or not helpful? What would you do when it's such a big, messy situation because of the different laws? And what is trauma to you? Does it have to involve one of the parents to make it trauma? There's a lot of questions about this new genre that I know people have been having. What exactly justifies trauma? What makes it trauma? What makes a trauma creator? Is it all of us that just talk about whatever the missing kids cases are that have become a trauma? Because sadly, when you type in Sebastian, well, the channels that Brock told me, those are the channels that come up in Google. So is it the cases that get linked to the trauma? And then no matter what, when you're covering it, now that's what you're getting? Or is it only certain things that create a trauma channel? I think we all, when we're talking about cases and stuff, could fit into trauma in one way or another. Because none of us are without fault. Right? None of us are without flaws. None of us. We all have opinions that sometimes cross the line. We all open our big mouth sometimes when we wish we hadn't. I think the difference for a lot of us, though, is that we aren't in some secret behind the scenes. We're not in discords. We're not unloading with only, 50 or 100 people and then coming on live streams as if it doesn't exist. Some of us just talk out and speculate out in the open. And we have these discussions out in the open, because that's what we came here for. Most people want to talk to other people about the cases without being bullied or handled in a lot of ways to not be able to talk about them. And everybody knows you're being handled immediately because you see the same groups of people coming and going from chat to chat. And when you've done something you shouldn't do, all those people leave your chat, and then they all come or they all leave. It's very, very obvious. That's just the way that it is. It's odd and it's a shame. And I do hope that eventually justice prevails for all of these different cases that everybody's ever talked about. And I do believe that there is justice coming for Summer and Sebastian imminently. I really do. Irregardless if they are able to find them physically, I do believe that there is going to be arrests and there is going to be a lot of answers on a lot of different things. That's just how I've always felt, because the way that I understand the law and the way that I understand how technology works and the statistics of it all, that is what I see before me, and that's what I continue to see. The more and more and more and more and more that stuff goes on online, the more and more and more and more and more I am confident that eventually there's going to be legal charges for all kinds of different things. That's just my belief. And who cares if I'm wrong? I can be wrong, but I'd much rather stand on believing that these children are going to have justice. That's what I'd much rather believe. All right, guys, well, I'm going to wrap up for now, and I'll be on in a little bit, and then we can have more interactive discussions. I just want to wrap this up so I could edit out the long pauses and stuff and have it, up as a video podcast type. Hopefully a lot of people get, answers from everything and they can understand me better, because I don't really have time to go back and forth in emails and stuff like that. And I want to hear from all of you, what you guys think of all of this, whether it's the comments, whether it's email me, let me know. Let me know what you think of all these things. And we'll be on in another hour or so, and we're going to just talk. We'll talk about some cases that people had emailed and suggested, and, talk a little more about, I guess, I'm not sure. I'll have to catch up on some stuff, but we might give some commentary on how I feel about some of the Krama stuff. I'm not sure. We'll see. We shall see. But anyway, thanks again, guys. Remember, if you can like, dislike, share, subscribe. Let's try to get Mom and back out of the pits of the HE double hockey sticks that have happened, because I don't fit on a side. So I had to be voted out of here a while ago for asking about, the letters to Esme Guy. It caused a lot of problems. Lots of problems for whatever reason. I do not know. Still have no idea. And that's fine. That's cool. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.
It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The suspect's in the eggnog, the alibi's the proof. Mom's got her podcast spinning tales of doom, but the cat ate the cookies in the other room. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. when the algorithm shines. Dad's in the basement with a chalkboard full of clues. Sister's got a notebook and she's quoting interviews. Grandma's knitting sweaters with conspiracies in thread, while Uncle Joe's convinced the reindeer faked their sled. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? The trees got tinsel, but the vibe's a crime scene. Who took the last candy cane forensic routine? The stockings are hung with the suspect's face. True crime Christmas, this family's misplaced. It's getting to look like Christmas live streams every night. They say be kind, rewind, oh but nah, not tonight. Mommy lost her marbles chasing ghosts online, but who needs sanity when the algorithm shines? It's a true crime Christmas where everyone's a sleuth. The world's on fire, it's burning slow. She sees the pain everywhere she goes. Her heart is heavy, but it still beats loud. She whispers to the stars above, is there still a place for love? Or is it lost in the crowd? Sometimes you need a little hope, a spark to light the dark unknown. A helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on. She walks the streets where shadows grow, but dreams still bloom in cracks below. The smallest light can break the night. She hums a tune to drown the ache. The world needs more than it can take, but she won't give up the fight. Sometimes you need a little hope, a spark to light the dark unknown. A helping hand, not a handout, no. We rise, we rise, we rise as one. When hope's the beat we're dancing on.